The planet Earth is the sanctuary of countless numbers of diverse life, including as human beings. It is a vast community for all people to live out their individual lives. But in recent times, the threats of climate change and global warming have grown immensely, so much so that their effects are visibly noticeable in everyday life. Trees and plant life are flowering sooner than normal, and heat waves of high intensity are occurring. Glacier ice is melting, and its loss is causing constant rise in global sea levels. The typical pace of seasons are changing, with longer summers and shorter winters. Ranges of habitat for animal and plant life are deviating from their original positions, leading to potential endangerment. But who or what can be held accountable for these occurrences? Using the ethical perspectives of cosmopolitanism, one can argue that every person has a moral obligation to preventing the furthering of global warming and climate change on this planet. From a cosmopolitan viewpoint, we are all part of a global community where every individual should have the same level of regard for moral concern and responsibility. With that being said, the Earth is home to every human being, and in order to make a clear effort of ensuring that we all can live our lives in desirable environmental conditions, we must all take the necessary steps to prevent, as well as neutralize, the harmful effects taking place. Corporations and companies should also be held accountable for the actions that may cause harmful environmental effects, not only because they are ran by individuals who are equally accountable, but because they are some of the largest contributors to damaging the environment. One major example of environmental harm from big-name companies would be the 2010 BP oil spill on the Gulf of Mexico. The incident happened as a result of an explosion of the Deepwater Horizon oil rig that caused connected pipes to come loose and leak into the ocean. The incident took place on April 20th of 2010, and the well was not fully capped until July 2015 of that same year. By the time it was capped, it was estimated that around 3.19 barrels of oil leaked into the Gulf of Mexico. This event had significant harm on the environment as well as its wildlife. Oil on the surface of the water had gotten onto birds of the sea, limiting their ability to fly or see, and sometimes even poisoning them. Countless amounts of underwater sea life began washing up dead on shore across over 1,000 miles of shoreline from Florida to Texas. While the company and separate supporting organizations made large tireless efforts to clean up the spill and repair the damage BP had done, one of the largest issues surrounded the fact that the incident was able to occur in the first place. BP had not taken the proper measures they now understand to have needed in order to prevent any type of oil spilling coming from the well or connected pipes. While it has never been explicitly stated why they had not taken these precautionary measures, it is very likely it was done so in an effort to save money for their business. This environmental endangerment brought major attention to the media and public on the importance of holding companies to a higher environmental standard. If we do not hold ourselves or major companies accountable for preventing the damage of the environment and increasing the care for the planet, we are doomed for greater suffering. Temperatures could continue to rise until they possibly reach unbearable heights. Natural disasters such as hurricanes could become more frequent and more intense. The amount of heat waves and droughts worldwide would increase. The sea level could rise high enough to submerge certain areas of land. Farming could become extremely more difficult, and the Arctic would eventually be free of ice. So what can companies do to ensure that they do not make the same mistakes as others, such as BP? Some steps to consider taking would include using reusable products and not relying on being able to dispose of things so quickly, adding to the already growing waste. Also, using energy-efficient lighting fixtures would reduce both energy and cost. Another major step to consider would be using less paper products and working digitally when the option is available. Finally, the most obvious steps would be for companies who rely on factory production to use more environmentally friendly equipment and ones that reduce harmful carbon emissions. But as we discussed before, companies are not the only ones responsible for environmental care. Us individuals need to make an intentional and consistent effort to help as well. There are several environmental organizations and websites out there with great tips and advice on how to live green, but some good examples include using refillable water bottles instead of purchasing plastic ones, taking shorter showers to reduce water use, setting your thermostat a few degrees higher or lower, depending on the temperature, to save on heating and cooling, walking or biking to work or other events when able, using a low flow shower head, and finally, installing fluorescent light bulbs to save on energy use and cost. These options not only are better for the earth, but they're better for your wallet as well, because they can help to save you much more money. By simply living more efficiently, we can help to aid in our duty as humans to not only care for, but protect the planet that we call home.